this is cool. And then Jo, this one girl who came to the seminar, she goes, oh, you kind of like the bucket list guy. So internet marketing speak, user-generated content.
Yeah.
So she called me the bucket, and I went, that's interesting.
Mm.
And here we are.
And it's stuck.
And it's stuck, yeah. I think, being a serial entrepreneur, if things stick for more than 24 hours, there must be something in it.
Yeah. And then the name was handed to you, which is even better than coming up with some catchy phrase to get people's attention.
Someone actually called me the bucket list guy, and I went, sweet, I'll run with that.
Yeah.
So I then registered about 1,800 domains around it.
Yeah, cool, man. Hey, well,
that's honestly been my driver. My bucket list has been my driver for why I've set up businesses, especially cash flow based businesses that also have some degree of leverage built into them, and that's what I love helping people, really get into and create so they can, live their life better.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's unreal.
That's my story.
Yeah. So who were your mentors going through that? Say even from like your franchising days. So you mentioned Michael Gerber. In so hence the franchise thing.
Yeah, Brad Sugars. I know Brad, and I've seen Michael Gerber and Brad Sugars in concert a few times, and I've they've been great. And I had I had one of the action coaches there early on. And look, in my time for different phases of the franchising game, I had about 4 or 5 coaches over the time for different things. My last coach in that system was like a CEO coach. Mm-hmm. It taught you how to be a CEO. Obviously, you did a pretty ordinary job because I gave it all up. But for different phases, to get a coach in on different steps has always been. I've always outsourced, and thought, all right, who motivates the motivator here? I've got to keep on track as well. My mentors, you got old school Jim Rowan, Tony Robbins, and I guess recently more of your Tim Ferrisses, and Jeff and Kane and Darren Hardy. Yep. Who on success.com and Success Magazine. But yeah, that all my stuff is learnt. Like my FedEx and my learning started after uni, and I can guarantee I've outlearned a lot of people. Yeah. And I'm constantly I'm training. One of my bucket list things at the moment is I'm training for an Ironman triathlon, and with that I've just been long, slow Ks running and bike riding, and my iPod Nano was just full of PD and business stuff, audios, and it's been good. Yeah. I've just been learning all the way through, and I've always taught myself. Yeah. And always invested.
So what do you mean by invested? Invested
in seminars, invested in books, in DVDs, audios. I've built that basically into my budget every single year for the last 10 years. I actually built it into my budget.
Yeah. So that learning is actually just a constant process for you.
That's what I do. Yeah. And this is a kicker. Someone, I think it was last year, a friend of mine called me a seminar junkie. I went, yeah, but now I'm a dealer, man.
Stepped up.
You want to buy some? No, it's cool to be able to, give back and repackage some of the messages, add your own flavour in, and help. Like I've already helped, like just in the short time that I've been the bucket list guy, I've helped a truckload of people already, and it's just freaking cool. And to be able to help them in the smallest possible way in their businesses and their life, and that affects their family, it's just super cool, and that's what really does it for me.
All right, so in light of going to all those seminars and all those trainings and the seminar junkie thing, so I've gone through a lot of that sort of stuff myself, and some of the messages are kind of conflicting. So when you're taking in all this information constantly, you get overwhelmed. And if you actually stick to say Jeff and Kane's one way of doing it, their system, right through, I find, you'll sort of come out the other end and have some result, but I find a lot of people go through one thing and then they get diverted to this guy and then they get diverted to that guy, and they never really complete any one system, but they've got kind of an overall knowledge of stuff. How do you get stuff done without that happening?
For starters, I don't take any person, any mentors, for absolute gospel. That is the way. I think it's very important to have your own sense of what you want to put out in the world, and you do take bits and pieces. People will come to my stuff and take bits and pieces of that. That's cool. To create their own, to add to their own, or to get them to look at what they're putting out in the world, and recreate. There's no use being a cookie cutter of someone else. And I think it's important for long-term integrity to create your own niche, to create your own way of doing things. Now, for me, how to not get overwhelmed, get my stuff done. I guess you could be right asking the wrong person, because I'm a bit of a nutter when it comes to this stuff. But I really, with a lot of stuff going on, I literally have 5 businesses going, and I've got a manager I've got 3 personal training studios down here in Melbourne. I've got a manager in each one of them that I make accountable. Each one of those studios have got between 4 and 6 trainers in each one, and they're bricks and mortar businesses too. They've got basically boutique gyms. I've got a manager in my PT Business Systems, and which allows me to be creative in the bucket list guy, which is really at the heart of it. That's what I love spending time on. Is creating stuff within that. Now, for me, I always concentrate on the activities on my day-to-day checklist. I'm a bit of a list Nazi too, that I go for the greatest dollar per hour return on everything that I do. If I find myself doing mundane stuff, I literally do outsource. But when you outsource, here's where I dare say a lot of people get it wrong. When you outsource, you've got to know what you're outsourcing, or more importantly, you've got to know what to expect back. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to get someone to do my bookwork, right, or my Odesk or whatever it is, then I want to know exactly. Don't just go, here, you deal with it. You got to expect, what are you expecting back from these people? Okay. And know exactly how to pick holes in it and make it better. I have a tendency personally to go really hard at the start and set things up, and then let someone else do it. You know what I mean? I've got, I guess, the thing around, and I guess I've learned from other people, is when transitioning from one thing to another, maybe one business to another, or for the viewers here, could be a full-time job to their passion, is to do it bit by bit, but do it fast, but do it bit by bit, rather than all or nothing. See, you and I both know a whole bunch of people that go to seminars and go, yep, screw the job, I'm out of here, and then they haven't got any money. You know what I mean? And that's just unsafe. You're not really protecting the back end, as it were. But that slow transition, can you go from full-time into part-time and then slowly build this one up in the process, and make sure the dollars are coming in at the right level? Cool? Because there's a lot of passionate but poor people out there. But, I must admit,